Good morning, rise and shine. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Come on in, come on in. Like, share, and subscribe. Another walk and talk. Come on and join me in this walk and talk as we get into some things. Spring is springing today. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood in Georgia. My melanin is melanin today. Team Natural. Team Natural. Listen, ladies, don't let nobody hate on you if you choose to be natural. It's the way to go. As quiet as it's kept, it is the way to go. Live your truth. Come on in. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Got a lot to talk about. Hit the like button for me. Helps with the algorithm. Road to 2,000 subscribers. God willing, we'll be there by the end of this live. Come on in. We got a lot to talk about. Yesterday, I posted a video, pre-record. I don't do that very often, but I did yesterday. Something new I may start to do. But I talked about the Senate hearing, I should call the testimony. Did you all see that video, or are you aware of what I'm talking about with the whistleblower, the meta whistleblower? It's her name, Sarah Wynne Williams. Did any of you see her testimony or listen to it? She did it on Wednesday. She did it on April 9th. Sarah Wynne Williams. April 9th, she testified in front of let's see, who she testified. Some of them folks in the government she testified. They heard her cries. She testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Did any of you all see that? Sarah Wynne Williams, the whistleblower, the meta whistleblower. Listen, she was just telling all the tea. She said Mark Zuckerberg and his whole team after her. They said, listen here, little Sarah, listen here. Keep our name out your mouth, and if you continue to say Facebook to the press, we will hit you with $50,000 for every time you say the name Facebook. Listen, that's a threat. That's what they told that woman. That is what they told that woman. Come on in, hit the like button, double tap the screen, hit the like button. Good morning. Hi, Lakin. Good morning. Sarah said, listen, I got some stuff to talk about. I've held this since 2017. That's when she left. She worked for Mark Zuckerberg from 2011 to 2017. And listen, she talk about toxic workplace. Talk about toxic workplace. Hey, Jody, good morning. You all come on in, hit the like button. We're going to talk about some things. We're getting into it. Y'all know when I do my walk and talk, y'all know it's on and popping. Y'all know it's on and popping. We got some things to talk about. I'm going to let y'all know what this woman Sarah said. Some of y'all probably, most of y'all, I'm sure probably all of you all, majority of you haven't seen the video I posted yesterday. About a 14-minute video I posted about the testimony that Sarah Wynne Williams did before the Judiciary, the Senate Judiciary Committee. If you're familiar with what I'm talking about and have some insight or have a comment, definitely share it. Put it in the chat. So listen, I'm gonna tell y'all what Sarah had said. This is what Sarah told them people on April 9th. So that was 6, 7, 8. That was Wednesday. So listen, April 9th, Sarah was doing her testimony before the Senate while Trump was playing around with these doggone tariffs. You see, because the tariffs were supposed to go into an effect on April 9th, remember? And they did go into effect for a matter of hours. And then he came back and was like, you know what? Never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. I'm going to do a 90-day extension. Never mind. So the world was kind of focused on that. I personally think it was a strategy with, having all of that, her being scheduled to testify on April 9th on the same day as the first day of the tariff because of deflection. Y'all know how I go. Because this information that Sarah has said, it hasn't really circulated like that throughout the mainstream. So it's not really being talked about heavily. Y'all better listen, hit that like button. I'm about to tell y'all because it's not being talked about on like really your CNN, Fox, like they're not talking about this. But I'm finna talk about it. Y'all know I don't give a dang. I'm gonna talk about it. I am going to talk about it. Come on in here. Good morning. Hit the like button. Another episode of my Sheik's Walk and Talk. Come on in. I will get into the comments as I walk. Let me see. Honey, good morning. Thank you so much. The tariffs will help in the long run. Yes, I do believe the tariffs will help in the long run. But listen, while Trump was talking about the tariffs and had everybody's attention, Sarah Wynne Williams was talking to the Senate saying what the heck Zuckerberg was up to as it pertains to China. Listen, China is the common theme. China is the common theme of just all the ish that's wrong, that's just effed up right now. China is smack dab in the middle of it. When it comes to the tariffs, who's smack dab in the middle of the conversation? China. At the hearing with Sarah Wynne Williams, who's smack dab in the middle of the conversation? China. Let me tell you how China smack dab in the middle of the conversation at the hearing. So Sarah said Zuckerberg regularly goes on record saying that he does not do any business with China. I repeat, your Zuckerberg, the founder behind that awesome product that you love, those awesome products, Facebook, Instagram. He says, listen, we don't F with China like that. I don't know, like we don't F with China like that. That's not what we do. Sarah said, you a MF lie. That is a lie. She said, that's a bald-faced lie. She said, that man do F with China. She said every chance he get, he was flying over to China to broker deals. She said that man got an $18 billion deal right now with China. I repeat, Sarah Wynne Williams testified on Wednesday, April 9th. In her testimony, she says that in 2014, Zuckerberg started working closely with China. Now, she started working for the company in 2011. She left at the end of 2017. She said around 2014, y'all, come on now, hit the like button. It's 116 of y'all in here. Just hit the like button. Hit the like button, double tap the screen. Good morning, Win. Good morning, just say Win. Good morning. Hit the like button. Come on in. Y'all finna get it because I'm telling y'all, I'm going to kick it to you in a way that nobody else is kicking it to you because this is how I do. This is how I do. It's the reason why I get all these clicks and views over here on this small little channel because I'm going to deliver it in a way nobody else delivers it to you. So Sarah said in 2014, Zuckerberg started having conversations and brokered a deal with China. She said that man was flying over to China more than any other place, any other country. She was like, he stayed going to China. And his reasons for going to China was to broker deals centered around him giving China American people personal information. Y'all know all that tea, all the business you put out there on social media. You know, that business. Yes, that information that you have been putting out there on your social media. I have accounts too, so that's you, me, whoever. The information that you've been putting on your Facebook and Instagram. So at that time, it was probably just Facebook, because Instagram, I don't think really was a thing too much like that. So with Facebook, so what he was doing in exchange for money, y'all know it's usually always about money. In exchange for money, he was selling the American people personal information. So what he was doing was, it seems like the big audience for Facebook is children ages 13 through 17. So what they were doing, what Meta was doing, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it, what they were doing was that they were monitoring the behaviors of children ages 13 through 17. So for example, this is what Sarah Wynne Williams said. You may have a young teenage girl, 13-year-old girl, she may post a selfie and then suddenly remove it. So Zuckerberg and his crew, Facebook, Meta, they would then pay attention to the young girl's history feed. What does she talk about on her social media? Why did she remove that picture? And they will identify, and they'll be able to identify then, oh, this young girl is dealing with self-esteem issues, body image. Y'all know how it go when you're a teenager and you just trying to develop and find yourself. One day you feel beautiful, the next day you ready to go and schedule an appointment to get something fixed. This goes beyond just being a teenager, just as a woman, period, regardless. But imagine, as teenagers, they're trying to just understand what the freak is going on, because they're hormonal, their bodies are changing. They just going through it. We all been there before. They're going through it. So Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook, they would pay attention to and utilize that information to strategically place certain advertisements in front of that child. For example, a child who shows, based off of her history, because they can figure this information out with as far as how a person's mental capacity is based off of the things that they post. That's why you gotta be careful what you post. So based off of the information that these kids would post, they would be able to determine if this child was going through something. So if they were going through something and it looks like it was centered around body image, they would then strategically have ads. People would purchase ad space, and the ads would go before that particular child. How many of y'all ever noticed that something you was thinking about, or you might have mentioned something, and then now you're seeing suddenly these ads coming up centered around a thought you had or a little comment that you made? How many of y'all have questioned whether or not the phone could really hear you because you were just talking about something with somebody, and then suddenly now you're seeing that in your feed, in your recommendation? That's strategic. So what Zuckerberg was doing, he was selling ad space, ads. So for example, China may be able to purchase like these ads and things centered around a young girl's insecurities, maybe ads about operations, changing physically how your body look. Maybe ads centered around makeup, or maybe clothes, revealing clothes, things like that. They're basically ads that's not helping the cause, ads that's not beneficial to this child. It's more so ads that's kind of like pushing them, nudging them towards those negative, the negative thoughts or ideas that child may have had. These ads are like, yeah, okay, well, here's an ad to support that thought. You see what I'm saying? So this is what Zuckerberg was doing. Oh, and don't think y'all sons was exempt either. They were doing the same thing when it comes to the boys who showed signs of being depressed and things like that. They were strategically placing ads before then that would just support whatever negative thoughts that they were having. Remember, over the years, we've heard a lot about kids offing themselves, and we'll see or we'll hear about them having a heavy presence or something centered around the internet, Facebook, Instagram, something. She was like, that's why, because of these ads, these things that were strategically placed before the American children. Listen, this is what Sarah Wynne Williams said. Sis had her receipts. Everything that she was there talking about, she had receipts to back it up. So remember, she talked about how Zuckerberg regularly took trips to China. Oh, she had all the receipts. That wasn't the problem. The question is, will anything be done? Because she had all the proof. She said Zuckerberg is a bold-faced liar. You shouldn't believe anything that comes out of his mouth because everything he does is for the purpose of gaining power. She was like, the part that just boggled her brain was the fact that he was doing all these shenanigans when he didn't have to because he already was worth $1 billion. So for him to be playing these games with the American children, she's like, it wasn't even necessary. He already got the bag. Like, what are you doing? She said, that's how she know it's just power. It's power. She's like, that man F with China heavy. She said, you can believe that if you want to, that he don't F with China. Yes, the heck he does. He F with them heavy. It's like she said repeatedly, he got an $18 billion deal with China. Clock that. Now, she didn't add that to the record, but when she said it, I'm sure she meant clock that. Listen, Sarah was dropping it all. Sarah was telling all the business. What else Miss Sarah said? Miss Sarah said that, y'all know, Miss Sarah said that the people who worked for Meta at the time, the executives, they didn't even allow their own kids to F with Facebook and all of that. She said if somebody were to ask, David Smith, hey, David, are your kids on Facebook? David would be like, H, no, my kids ain't on the Facebook. I know where we work. I know what we be doing. Why would I have my child on Facebook when I already know the behind the scenes on what really is going on and the whole reasoning behind it? F no, hell no. I'm not allowing my kids to be on Facebook. She said that was a sentiment of all the executives. But guess who didn't get the memo? My kids, your kids, the kids who have parents who don't work for Zuckerberg. Because what they say, when you know, you know. The parents who work for Zuckerberg already knew. They already knew what the deal was, so they didn't even allow their kids to be on that platform, rightfully so. But they were okay with going to work and doing their job and making money, knowing these shenanigans that was taking place though. But they were like, yo, listen, I guess they compartmentalize it. They're like, listen, it's my job. This is how I make a living. But since I know these things are taking place, I'm going to protect my family and tell them, hey, stay far away from Facebook because I know what is taking place at Facebook. I know what they're doing with said information. Y'all, it was deep. And the way I equated it to where y'all know some of y'all might be like, I don't eat at that restaurant no more because maybe you work there or you know somebody else who used to work there and they tell you what really go on in that establishment, in that kitchen. And you be like, oh, F no, I'm not eating there. The same thing. This is how the executives felt about Facebook. They were like, no, my kid's not going to participate with this product because I already know they own some other type of stuff. And it's not for the protection of our children. Sarah has so much to say. She said, now listen, Zuckerberg and them started harassing her. She released a book recently. It got published on March 11, 2025. She published a book. Let me see what's the name of that book. It's on Amazon. You can find it. Her book is called Careless People. And she talks about the time spent while working for Facebook, while working for Mark Zuckerberg. After she basically kind of published that book, it came out that she had this, her book release. She said one day she was at home feeding her toddler some oatmeal and she heard somebody at the door. She said, I thought it was somebody delivering me flowers. Listen, y'all, I don't even know where Sarah's from. She has an accent. So she's not American. I don't know where she's from, but she has an accent. But she said she was at home feeding her toddler oatmeal and somebody rang the doorbell. And she thought it was somebody coming to deliver her some flowers, y'all, to congratulate her on the release of her new book. No. It wasn't no flowers at the door. Let me tell y'all who was at the door. But I'm going to tell y'all first, y'all need to hit the like button. It's 239 of y'all in here and it's only 13 likes. That's crazy. That's diabolical. Is that what they say? That's diabolical. Like how, Sway, how? Like this is the type of ish that don't be making sense. This is the type of ish that do not be making sense. When you got like a plethora of people watching and then you got about 2 likes. Crazy, yo, just crazy. Hit the like button. Just double tap the screen. Just double tap the screen for you. I'm gonna tell y'all who was at the door, but I need for y'all to hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let me see what y'all talking about in here. Out of this world. Palestine is here, man. Good morning. this world. I don't care. I'm just kidding. That's devil. Come on in. Get the likes up. Come on in. Good morning. Come on in. Y'all get the likes up. But listen, she said she thought it was somebody delivering her flowers. She was like, let me get this dough, get these roses, because it's her special day. You know, she just launched her book. No. She said it was a letter. It was something from Zuckerberg people basically saying, keep our name out your mouth. And let me tell you what's going to happen if you don't. We are going to basically come after you for like your breach of contract, saying lies, and we're going to hit you with $50,000 every time you say Facebook to the press. This is what they said. And basically, try me if you want to. So it shook the lady up. It shook her up. It shook her up. It had her shook. Because she was like, the crazy thing about it is that he's on this train of talking about freedom of speech and how he's for freedom of speech. But she was like, but though he's trying to block my freedom of speech, make it make sense. Make it make sense. They gave her all kinds of threats. Basically like, try me if you want to type stuff. So she was shook up. But guess what? She did she showed up to that in-person hearing where she did her testimony on Wednesday, April 9th. She showed up and she told her truth. She came with receipts. Some of the information that she had, they were like, oh, well, do you want to tell us offline? Are you first? She was like, no, I'm good. She was okay with saying everything that she had to say right then and there with the cameras on in front of everyone who needed to hear it. Basically, she on this like, I'm standing 10 toes down. This is my truth. This is my truth. This man ain't what y'all think he is. He's a liar. He's a liar, and he got a lot of people fooled. But I'm here to let you know that Facebook is just not where you want to be. Facebook, and then listen, he owns Instagram too. But she was there giving her testimony centered around Facebook because at the time when she worked there, that's pretty much what, the product, the business that was in place. I don't know when Instagram came about, but Facebook was kind of like the heavy conversation that day, during the hearing. She's like, this man is a liar. He's a chameleon. He's a chameleon, and he's going to say and do whatever he needs to do for power. She said it's all rooted in power. This man just wants power. He doesn't care who he harms in the place of it. He's aware of the harm that's taken place as a result of how he's running his business, as a result of selling the American people's information to China, because that is exactly what's been happening. Y'all, we've been hearing about this for years. While Trump focused on TikTok and all of that, he need to be looking at the American company that we got here that's giving out information. Do I think the Trump administration gonna speak on it? I'm not gonna hold my breath, because hell, when Zuckerberg, he's been like right at, supporting Trump as of late. Like when Trump has had events and things like that, who's been sitting in there? Zuckerberg. Just like how Elon, I'm wondering, y'all can probably let me know in these comments. Anybody know if Zuckerberg donated any money to the Trump campaign? And if so, how much? Because we already know Elon donated a lot of money. I think it was in the trillions. Elon donated a crazy amount of money to Trump. And so my question is, how much money did Zuckerberg donate to Trump? Because the reason why I asked that question is because if there was a significant amount of money that has been donated to Trump, that to me makes it less likely that Trump is going to stand up and say something to deal with him in a way that he needs to be dealt with. What you call it, bought and paid for? I'm just saying. Listen. Because all this information I'm sharing with you all and what came out at the hearing, Trump knows this information now. He knows this information. The question is, Mr. President Trump, what are you going to do with this information? People in the comments on like the videos that I've seen centered around the hearings have been asking, what is Pam Bondi? Is Pam Bondi going to roll up on Zuckerberg? Because y'all know Pam Bondi, hey, what's up, Dr. J? Pam Bondi ain't got no problem rolling up. You know, on them immigrants, they've been rolling up on them real hard. But the question is, will they roll up on Zuckerberg with this information that has been put out? My thing is, I'm an equal opportunist on who can get it. So if you saying these illegal immigrants who over here doing the absolute most can get it and resulting in them getting sent back home or to CCOT, I think that American citizens who are doing the absolute most should also get that work too. You see what I'm saying? They should also get that work too. If they doing treason, because that's treason, right? That is treason. It was what Zuckerberg, what Sarah Wynne Williams is accusing Zuckerberg of, that's treason. And like I said, sis came with her receipts. Everything that she talked about, she had documentations to support it. Every time she made a statement, she would follow up with, I have the documentation to support it. This woman is not just no disgruntled employee. This woman is by trade an attorney and an author. So she ain't just some dumb beat. Like, this is not this woman. That's not her. Y'all better get into her. Google her, Sarah Wynne Williams. Check out her resume. She just ain't no simpleton. She's not a simpleton. She's somebody to where you can tell, like, she know what she talking about. She got her receipts, and she like, listen, enough is enough. I'm telling it all. A lot of people in the comments have been concerned about her safety. A lot of people have been, I was reading the comments, people are like, oh my, OMG, will the government protect her? Because y'all know how it go. Soon as somebody come out here talking, next thing you know, they done off themselves. They was suddenly depressed. Don't act like y'all don't know that's what happens. They suddenly was depressed. Ain't nobody else in the family knew that this person was depressed. But because this person have a history where they talked about going against the grain and telling something, then suddenly they're no longer with us. They're no longer in the physical and the living with us. Y'all know how I go. So in the comments, a lot of people were concerned about Sarah's safety, wondering if the government was going to protect her. If the government was going to protect her, because they felt like it was courageous for her to come out the way that she has with sharing the information that she has shared, because it's dangerous. I mean, you're going up, how much Zuckerberg worth? I know too, higher than what I can count. I know that. He worth more than the views that I get on this channel. I know that. So for her to be willing to risk it all, she did something that she did something to where I've seen a lot of people lose their life over. I'm just going to say that. I've seen a lot of people lose their life over stuff like that. Before they even get out to speak, the word get around that they about to start talking, then suddenly they're no longer with us. So Sarah now has spoken. She has a book out. Let me repeat the title of her book. Her book is called Careless People. It's on Amazon. You can find it out there. It's called Careless People. She is a whistleblower. Sarah Wynne Williams, that's her name. And she's basically testified on April 9th saying that Zuckerberg is in cahoots with the Chinese government. Listen, take it as you will. I mean, it's out there. Like I said, you're not going to hear it on mainstream media, those big outlets. You're not going to hear it there. I think where I seen the story yesterday was on Forbes News. But go put it in your internet, put it in YouTube. It's going to come up. But it's not being talked about. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like the reason why it's not heavily being talked about is because of the players, because of Zuckerberg. It's not being talked about because of Zuckerberg. He is being protected. The question is, who is he being protected by? I said, y'all, do your research. See how much money, if any, did Zuckerberg donate to Trump? Why is he sitting so closely to Trump? Have Trump already said, let me holler at you because of the things that he was hearing? And now he got Zuckerberg kind of under his thumb. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that whatever he feel like he's worked out with Zuckerberg privately, what does that do for me, you, the people who utilize the Facebook platform? We've already been compromised. We may very likely continue to be compromised. But somebody like this needs to be reprimanded for their poor behavior, because guess what? Me, you, or most of you who are on this live right now, if you do something wrong, you're going to be reprimanded. They're not going to care who you are, who your mama is, who your daddy is. But it just seems like the elite, the rich, they get these passes. It's like they have these passes with when it comes to just the people with money, where they don't want to. It's like they'll put it out there, but then nothing happens. Like, take, for example, with the audits and the money going to, and the fraud that's been found through, that was taking place with the government. We haven't heard about any arrests with these people. But though, guess who we do hear about arrests for? People who they say fraudulently got PPP loans. Let's talk about it. Why do people who got PPP loans, they rolling up on them and arresting them? But the people in government who they saying then stole millions of dollars. I think right now, Jasmine, state representative of Texas, Jasmine Crockett name is circulating in the news because of some monies and things like that. A paper trail that they following that's saying that she have fraudulently gotten money. So you hear about the rich and elite being caught up in these shenanigans, but you don't hear about arrests. What are we doing? What is the purpose? Like, really think about it. Like, what is the purpose of talking about it? And if you're not doing nothing about it, you're not reprimanding these people. Like, what's the purpose? What, to embarrass them? Like, do you feel like, oh, when it comes to the elite, we'll just drop their name and we'll just embarrass them? But when it comes to me, you, or somebody else, the regular working class, oh, they don't give a dang. It's not about embarrassment. They're trying to lock you up. They trying to send you away. They trying to have you do time. Some of y'all know people who's done time, and you might have done time. But when you see these rich and the elite doing the absolute most because they don't make it to the media, it's just up for conversation. It's just up for conversation. So it's just like, what the... Is the government the new career path for criminals? Because to me, it's given that if you want to do some ish and get away with it, get into politics. Get into politics, because you're gonna be able to clean up and without getting in trouble. And even if you are caught, they'll be like, all right, then we'll just put it on front page news, and that person is able to continue to live their life. It's crazy, yo. It's crazy. So no, I'm not holding my breath for anything to happen with Zuckerberg as far as him being reprimanded. No, not at all. I think that what happened on Wednesday with the hearing, you all, while it's still out there, go out there and listen to what she had to say when she testified. Because who knows how long that'll be out there. But I do not feel that at the next press conference that likely Caroline, the press secretary, is going to talk about it. No, I don't think it's going to be a question posed. She's not going to talk about it. And if the question does come up, I don't see her elaborating. I see her saying, listen, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I see her doing one of those numbers. Zuckerberg will continue to make his money, and then people will continue to just put their business on social media, and everything wash, rinse, repeat. Y'all know how I go. So that's on that. Look into her, Sarah Wynn Williams. It's out there. So check it out right now. Good morning, everyone. Please hit the like button while you're in here. It's 236 of you in here. Just double tap the screen. I have some other things I want to share with you all this beautiful Sunday morning. So go ahead. I'll give you a chance to like the video as I get ready to go into the next topic that I want to talk about. And it's a lot going on. So listen, the more you know, the more you can kind of prepare yourself for the things that are to come. That's pretty much what it's about, right? Because you can't prepare if you don't know. So what I can do, I come on here. I come on here to enlighten, to let you all kind of know what's going on out here. Warrior said, we must speak out loud their restrictions. Amen to that. Lotus said, so tired of the U.S. Elmo says, I'm about to go back in time. Most facts. Listen, this stuff, as I see, it's like it's different rules for them. The rules that are applied to us working class Americans, I hope y'all don't think that those rules apply to the elite. Those rules do not apply to them. You can tell. Because how often are we hearing about the scandalous stuff that they do, but we don't hear of any arrests? Hell, we still waiting on the Epstein files. Listen, don't get me talking about that. That woman, Pam Bondi, it's been probably about 5 weeks ago, where she promised to said she was going to release the Epstein files on a Thursday. Thursday has come and went several times. And there has been no talks about an update on when she is going to release those files. There's been no talks about when she's going to release those files. People have moved on. Guess what everybody's talking about? The tariffs. Deflection. I told y'all the day that Sarah did her testimony was on the day, April 9th, where the tariffs were to go into effect. This stuff is by design. It's strategy. It's to have your attention to be focused where they want it to be focused on. They don't want your attention to be focused on Mark Zuckerberg and his shenanigans. They're putting it out there, but they know a large majority of you are not going to see or hear about it. Why? Because you only tapped in likely to those mainstream media news outlets. Continue to only listen to the mainstream media news outlets. You're going to be lost in the sauce, because they're not being truthful to you in a way in which you may think that they are, or the way they should be. They're not. That is a network. The difference between someone like me and, say, a Fox or a CNN is that I can speak on whatever it is that I choose to speak on, and I'm not worried about being censored. I'm not worried about someone saying, okay, well, Sheik, you can only talk about this. You can't talk about that. Those large news outlets, those news reporters, those journalists, they're restricted to what they can talk about. That's why I say you have to move around and don't just rely on your news to come from a mainstream outlet. Move around. That's how I know a lot of the things that I know, because I'm not just tapped into mainstream media. I will check in with them to see what they're talking about, but I also listen to the other news outlets, the other international news outlets, those countries that don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to the U.S., and they're just reporting on news. So I take information from all those different outlets, and I come out here to you all and I talk about it, and we get into some things. And like I say, you're going to hear it from me in a way you ain't hearing it from nobody else. I promise you that. You're not going to hear it like this. I'm going to break it down in a way to where you will understand what the freak is going on. You're going to understand, like Sarah Wynn Williams' testimony. Get into it. Go research her. Go research her so you can see what she's all about while it's still out there on the internet. Now, moving on. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button. It's 210 of you in here. Double tap the screen. Hit the like button. Road to 2,000 subscribers. Go ahead. I'm a small YouTube content creator. And listen, welcome. If this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. My background is clinical mental health counseling. So a lot of what I talk about, I tap on the psyche of the mind, the emotion, all of that, because this issue that's popping off in the world today, it's impacting people in so many ways. I told y'all with Zuckerberg, just by them seeing what the teenagers are going through today, he's selling ad space for people to capitalize off of your child that's going through it, that's depressed. Y'all, I didn't even know so many kids was depressed until when I was when I was wrapping up my when I worked at the clinical mental health hospital, and I was in there and I was working with the children. Let me see. I think I have a super chat to come in. Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Meta for Cal. I appreciate you. Listen, y'all, I didn't even know kids was going through it the way they going through it until I went to work at the mental health hospital here in Atlanta. I'm like, yo, when I tell you, so the hospital I worked at, y'all, I worked at a hospital for, you can go there from age 9 through seniors. So basically, I worked with them all. I worked with the adolescents. I worked with the addicts. I worked with the ones who had severe psychological mental health disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, listen, you name it, they was up in that hospital. It is the oldest mental health hospital in Atlanta, called Anchor Hospital. You can look into it. And so I worked there. And so I worked with children. Y'all, I didn't know kids was going through it like that. These kids was like, listen. Y'all know in the movies, you know, they show kids slitting their wrists and doing this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay. And usually, y'all know in the movies, they only showed, listen, the kids that be doing all that, they really wasn't showing them looking like me that was doing the slitting and all of that. When I worked at that hospital, that is when I came to learn that children that look like me be doing that type of thing as well. And I'm like, what is going on? Why are all these children depressed? I promise you, when I worked there, every file except for one, and the reason why I can say except for one, because that was a shocking thing. Every file said that the child was struggling with depression. Every file. Because it's different reasons that can land you in a mental health facility. But out of all the files I looked at, except for one, because I remember that day when I looked at a file and I was in shock when that child's file did not show that they had been diagnosed with depression. I'm like, what the heck? Like, in my mind, I'm like, what they depressed about? They got to go to school. They don't have the responsibilities of just the hustle and bustle of life like your work, you know, the adults, like the parent does. Y'all, I was shook. So keep that in mind. Now you have somebody like Zuckerberg, who this woman, Sarah Wynn Williams, is saying is selling ad space to target those babies who are posting things that's showing signs of them being in distress and depressed. He's selling ad space. Remember, she said he's in cahoot with China. Y'all know, some of y'all have already heard, these other countries' social media, it don't look like the social media in the U.S. I think some time ago that in like those Asian countries, they social media, they kids be getting recommendations for educational stuff. Y'all know the recommendations for our social media be on some foolishness. Y'all know that it be on some foolishness. It don't be centered around nothing educational, nothing to help your baby learn how to do math better or read better. That is not what we see in the social media in the U.S. But in other countries, that's what they see. And then we wonder why our kids don't know much of anything of substance, and how these other countries are winning and outperforming us when it comes to academia. It's this type of stuff. It's by design. I heard a few years ago that the number one career aspiration for the youth today is content creation. The goal is to keep these kids dumbed down. So therefore, they're not aspiring to do anything more. Y'all listen, like I said, stop listening to just the mainstream media. Get out your comfort zone. Listen to other people, other outlets. Talk about just the things that are going on in the world. It will enlighten you. This is set up by design. This is why our kids don't know nothing. And you got some states that got super low graduate. It's crazy, yo. But it's the truth. That's why Trump went ahead and said, well, we just finna get rid of the whole Department of Education because it ain't working anyway. So why we even keeping around and putting money, funneling millions of trillions of dollars into it if it's not even working? It's not working. But guess what? It's not working because it's by design. Good morning, everyone. Please like the video. Double tap the screen, like the video. Let's switch over to, we'll save that one for later. Let's talk about Mexico. Let's switch over and talk about Mexico. Mexico saying, listen, we going through it. We got Trump talking about hitting us with these tariffs, and we ain't got no water. Mexico is struggling with water. They're in a deficit when it comes to water. Trump says, listen, Mexico, y'all saying y'all struggling with water. You have recently asked for us to help you out and give you some water, and we ain't doing it. And I'm going to tell you why we not doing it. Trump's threatened Mexico with possible sanctions and tariffs if they continue to steal water from Texas. So listen, Trump said, while y'all concerned out here for the farmers and all of that, let me tell you something. Mexico is stealing water from the Texas farmers. Mexico owes Texas $1.3 million, 1.3 million acre feet of water under the 1944 water treaty. I repeat, Trump says Mexico owes Texas 1.3 million acre feet of water under the 1944 water treaty. So he like, listen, we ain't giving y'all a dang thing because y'all been taking all the doggone water. Now the farmers in Texas ain't got no water to run their farms and do what they need to do. So no, we not giving you a dang thing. We will not. We will not. Apparently, Trump is in Mexico has been violating their treaty obligation, and it is hurting the South Texas farmers very badly. So many people been focused on the farmers, saying the farmers struggling. They ain't got this or they ain't got that. Well, he said, well, listen, I can speak to Texas. For Texas, that ain't on us. Mexico have been taking all the water. They've been taking more than their share according to the water treaty, the 1944 water treaty. They've been stealing from us. That's what he said. Listen, they've been stealing from us. Last year, the only sugar mill in Texas closed because Mexico has been stealing the water from Texas farmers. So Trump, like, listen, what y'all been doing and the shenanigans y'all been on is having American businesses to have to shut down because you have not been abiding by the law, the rules that are associated with the 1944 water treaty. So because of that, no, we are not going to help you out. And while we talking, I'm gonna need for you to run us our water. I'm gonna need for you to run us back our water. Listen, that's like somebody owing you money and then they come and circling back around saying, yo, but can I borrow 500, but they already owe you 2,000. Who gonna do that? So Trump, like, get out my face with that. You need to go ahead and go back to the drawing board and work on how you finna repay us back with all the daggone water that you done stole from us. As part of the treaty, Mexico needs to send 1.75 million acre feet of let me see, what did he say? The 1 point. Okay, so as part of the treaty, Mexico needs to send 1.7 million acre feet of water. So, listen, them people in Mexico, somebody interviewed the people in Mexico. They was like, we ain't got it to give. We can't give something we don't have. They said, we don't even have enough water here for our agriculture. We don't even have enough water here for our agriculture. So we can't give the U.S. water. Like, we're struggling. We're soon going to just not have water. Right now in Mexico, they are having these people on water restrictions. So I was listening to one news outlet and it was saying that they'll have water restrictions that are a lot like this, like where you only can use water at your house for like 2 hours. And that's it. You got 2 hours to use water. After that, no more water. That's on a good day. Then you're going to have days where you can't use water at all. I told y'all they on a water restriction. I done told y'all that. Y'all remember years ago, I remember in Georgia where we had the water restriction. It was like you couldn't water your grass or wash your cars. Like, it was just maybe on certain days or you couldn't do it. I remember that. It was probably maybe in the early 2000s, maybe about between 2005, 2008. I remember back then, Georgia having some type of like water restrictions. So in Mexico, they on that type of time. They like, listen, you got 2 hours to make it do what it do. So you need to wash it behind, wash your dishes, wash your, whatever. You got 2 hours to do whatever you need to do. Tomorrow, listen, I hope you did whatever you need to do today, because tomorrow you will not have any water at all to use. This is how bad, how dire the situation is when it comes to the water. When it comes to the water in Mexico, the Rio Grande, the water in the Rio Grande, that's basically running very, very low. That's basically what Mexico was wanting President Trump to help them out with replenishing like water there. But yeah, President Trump's administration, like, no, we're not going to do that. So, Mexico's president leader, she's a woman. She was like, all right, we gonna fulfill our obligations. We gonna gradually do what we supposed to do. So she's like, listen, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, sir. I hear what you're saying. But they on their Tasha K. I ain't got it. Listen, everybody on there, I ain't got it. This is universal. I ain't got it. They like, yeah, I hear what you saying, player, but I ain't got it. We just ain't got it. Like, we ain't got it. We ain't got it. But when we get it, you will be the first in line. You will be the first in line when we get it. But right now, we ain't got it. But I'm telling you, when we get it, it's yours. So Trump like, all right, then I hear you. So then when we get it, then you get it. You know what I'm saying? So right now, no, but they're not getting what they're wanting. We don't have the water from them, which is what, we want, but they're also not getting additional water from us. So everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling. So Mexico got more than tariffs to be concerned about. They definitely have more than tariffs to be concerned about. Good morning, everyone. Please hit the like button. True One says California need water bad. I mean, everybody, the struggle is across the nation, y'all. Justine said, imagine calling it global warming and having to change the name to climate change because they realize the earth is actually cooling. Yep. So, woosah. It's a lot going on. Everybody just needs to do their part. Listen, that's just really all you can do is do your part. Do your part. Now, I'm going to share something with you with what the U.S. government is saying, what they're about to do, that they classify as we're doing our part. We're doing our part. Digital airport rules. How many of you are familiar with the new digital airport rules that's slated to go into an effect within the next 3 to 5 years? Who knows? It may be sooner than that. 3 to 5 years. The U.S. government, because, these airports, this is, it's run and operated, controlled through like the federal government system. They are planning to get rid of boarding passes at check-in. So, right now when you go to the airport, you normally have a boarding pass. You'll have like a paper pass, or you may show something in your app. So right now, they're planning to get rid of that. What that means, I'm going to tell you, it's 3 steps to this process. Come on in. Listen up, Buttercup. Y'all double tap the screen, like the video. Listen up. The days of having a paper border pass, long lines to get through the check, those are going to end. Those are going to end, and I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you how. So, for one, you will download a biometric passport on your phone. So, everybody walking around with these smartphones and everything like this. So they're like, all right, then we got something for you to add to that little smartphone. You need to download the biometric passport. After that, you will drop off your checked luggage and go through a security by scanning your face. So the way you'll go through the security now is they're going to just scan your face. So remember, you downloaded your biometric passport already on your phone. So you do that. Next, you're going to go through the security, and that part is just going to be not you pulling out anything like right now, what we normally do. Are you taking off your clothes? You're not doing that. They're just going to scan your face. The third part will be you abort the plane without needing to show a boarding pass or a passport. Voila. Listen, that's it. That's all you got. Is nothing else to the process. Is nothing else to the process. Good morning. There's nothing else to the process. Listen, I told y'all that's it. It's 3 steps. I'm going to repeat. Y'all go ahead and like the video as I repeat these new steps for the digital airport rules. This is slated to come in the next 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. Double tap the screen. This is how it's going to work. You will download the biometric passport on your phone. 2, you will drop off your checked luggage and go through the security by scanning your face. So as you're going through security, y'all see I got my phone up. They'll have something that goes in before your face, and that's going to tell them all they need to know right there. 3, you aboard the plane without showing a boarding pass or a passport. Y'all, that's it. That's it. What I just ran down to y'all, days of showing up to the airport 2 hours early, all of that. Remember, it was like the standard rule. Come to the airport 2 hours early. Oh, that's a done data. You're not going to even need to do that. You're not going to even need to do that anymore, because this will drastically decrease the amount of time it's going to take to get through the whole process of, checking bags, going through security. Y'all know that whole song and dance that we dread, but it's what keeps us safe. That's going away. It's already happening in other countries. For example, Dubai. Someone, when I was listening to the news outlet, they were like, another person who worked at the, for the news outlet said they had just gotten back from Dubai. And when they went to Dubai, all they had to do was, someone just kind of looked at their face, did the scan or whatever, and allowed for them to board the plane. That's it. Some of y'all, if y'all have traveled different places as of late on the plane, you can talk about what the process was like for you. But right now, Dubai is a country that's already utilizing the face scan. And apparently this face scanning is telling them all that they need to know. It's saying this will dramatically shorten the amount of time we spend at the airport. And they are saying the data will be scrubbed from the internet in about 15 seconds. Question, do you believe this? Do you believe that this data that they have asked you to load on the internet will suddenly go away? They say in like 15 seconds. So I guess after they have you go through the process, then the information is going to be removed from the internet. So y'all know every time we turn around, we hear about somebody that hacked into something. That's why cybersecurity is like an industry that's really growing, because you got all these hackers, these people that just know how to just access all your business and things. So now more of your business, your personal business, is now going to be on the airport. So like you're going to be now required to, like, with your birth certificates and all that personal information, social security card, that information is kind of going to need to be scanned. So therefore it can be in an electronic form. So when you are going through these airports, they're able to see this information. So hackers is going to have access to more of your information. But at the end, they say, listen, you're going to get through the airport experience. It's going to be faster, it's going to be smoother. But this is at the cost of your personal information being leaked. This is what, in exchange for convenience, I guess that's what they're saying. Listen, in exchange for convenience, this is what you're going to be losing some of the privacy. You're going to be losing some of the privacy. Let me see. South Florida, Sanchez said, in my humble opinion, it's about money laundering and transfer of wealth. Let me see. Justine says, AI needs to be regulated, but unfortunately, they will move forward in order to keep up with other countries. AI could be detrimental to society. Virtuous said, this whole goes deep, so much about to happen and people sleeping. Wake up and research, or you're going to get left behind. Say it louder for the people in the back. Richard says, if you take a jar and fit it in with the ants, they're calm. If you shake the jar, they will fight each other, not the person shaking the jar. South Florida says, we will choose AI because it is exactly that. Yeah, research is needed. You got to do, I come out here and I just share things that are going on in the world in hopes that it would just prompt you to want to explore, to see what's going on for yourselves. And not just take my word, but just look into it. Just look into it and see like, wow, like, okay, this whole digital airport rules, like, how can this impact me? How can this impact my life? What are the pros and the cons for implementing this? Because there's always going to be pros and cons. Nothing's perfect, but are you willing to risk more of your personal data being placed on the internet and getting in the hands of the wrong people for convenience? Because as they say, it's going to shorten the lines at the airport. Would you rather just have things the way they are? You know, get you a little fast pass, the TSA pre-check, whatever, and just continue to go through the airport as you've been? Or are you here for this whole new digital way of doing things to where they can just scan your face and voila, you're good to go? Do you trust that? That is the question. They're trying to say, oh, after 15 seconds, the information is removed from wherever. Okay. Okay. How many of you all believe that? Good afternoon. It's 12 o'clock noon in the sunny state of Georgia. It's a lot, but this is where we're going. Everybody trying to utilize AI, and AI is taking over. And here's the thing with that. This is going to impact jobs. Because remember, it's already talks. Remember, I think I talked about it maybe right before I traveled to DC, that they were impacting the government, you know, with as far as with the funding. They were impacting the TSA workers funding as far as with the what did they have, the union? They were like trying to stop that and all that. So I think there's a lawsuit against the Trump administration because of them removing the union and all of that. So if the Trump administration is wanting to impact the airports and the workers and things at the airport, then they have to then have a more efficient way of getting people through, because now we're moving into times of doing more with less. So what I just described to you all, that means that's going to be less workers that they're going to need at the airport, right? You're not going to need all those TSA workers with what I just described to you. So anyone who does work for TSA or knows someone who works for TSA, this is the type of information that they need to get into and to really pay attention to and do their research. So therefore they can plan around it if they need to work to get new skill sets and things like that, because this process that I just described to you, I do not see why you would need hundreds, thousands of TSA workers across the country, across the USA. I don't see, because if this process is going to have you moving like that because of the face in an environment that normally has 500 TSA workers, you probably can dwindle it down to maybe 100, if that. You might be able to get it under 100. You're not going to need a steep head count for workers in the airports anymore, centered around security. You may have your workers where they're working other parts, you know, maybe the counter for customer service if someone has a question. Restaurants, you know, they have restaurants and shops in there. But as far as like the security, which a large number of the employees who work at the airport fall underneath like TSA, you're not going to need all that. You're not going to need all that. Remember, they're going to have a device. You put your face here and it's going to do, you know, it's going to have all the information they need to know about you is going to come up from them looking at your face, because prior to you going to the airport, you would have uploaded your personal information onto whatever platform you need to have it in. So when you step up and they look at your face, kind of like, I guess, with right now, we use face recognition for things like with our own personal electronics, our phones and things. So picture it being like that. And here's the thing. If the airport starts to do that when it comes to boarding flights, How long do you think it'll take before now, when you're just navigating outside in these streets and going into different businesses and stuff where it's time for you to check out and things? How long do you think it'll take before that's going to be the way that you basically check out? I'm just saying. It has to start somewhere. So if the air, now this is, and some of these things that I'm talking about are probably likely taking place. Well, I already said Dubai is already doing the face recognition. Someone said they, on the news that I was watching, that one of their colleagues recently went to Dubai, and Dubai already does the face recognition whole thing at the airport. So they just check your face and then you go, and you don't have to pull out anything. So my thing is, eventually it will move beyond that idea. It'll move beyond the airport and it'll go outside. There's movies and things like that. There was a movie on Netflix. Maybe someone just when you might be able to say it. Remember there was that movie on Netflix where the people in the other countries, everything that they were judged by a score. So based off of what your score was, it determined, like, I think the lower your, let me see. I think the lower your number, the better. I don't know, but you're judged by a scoring system. So that's like your credit, your number. So when you go into businesses, how you're treated is based off of that number that's associated with you. So I can't remember if the lower number is the better score, or if I think it might be the high number. Probably the higher the number, the social credit. And you said Lotus said there's social credit in China. So yes, I see the US kind of going that way, but AI. So if they're using the face scanning in the airports, that's going to make its way outside of the airport. It's going to be in your grocery stores, when you go to Walmart, when you go to Sam's Club, when you go to Costco, any of those stores, you go to the mall, they'll be able to just scan your face. And because in the system, you have all your data, your credit card information, everything loaded in there. So when they scan your face, just like what some people do, that the Apple Pay, like it's just technology. It's the same thing. It's just going to make you to be able to move through the process faster. So those of you who currently work for TSA, it is my recommendation that you start to explore other career opportunities. Do your research and see what other things you can do as far as a job to make your living, to earn your living, because TSA is going to no longer be a thing. I'm just saying, based off of the direction that they're going, there is not going to be a need for TSA like that. You might have a handful of people, but don't be sitting thinking that you're going to be one of those handful of people, so you just going to just sit still. Don't do that. Don't do that right now. Remember, I said it's going to be 3 to 5 years. So that means you got 3 to 5 years to work on you another craft, that maybe go to vocational school around your shift, learn something, so therefore you can navigate into just another industry. And it is my recommendation, as you're thinking about your future in industries, think about where we headed. So right now we're heavy technology. So to me, it would make sense for anyone who's thinking about going to school to pick up a trade, to learn something, for them to be focused on careers centered around technology. AI is the way of the future. There's nothing we can do about it. It's going to be, we just have to figure out how we can work with it, how we can benefit with it. So when it comes to these robots, research how you can get into a field where you can help with the creation, the building, the design of the robots, the maintenance of the robots. This is what I'm saying. You have to pay attention to where the times are going, and it's going in the direction of technology. So you have to follow the wave. You have to follow the wave. So anyone who's currently works for TSA, 3 to 5 years, remember I said that this is supposed to go into an effect. That's enough time for you to go to school and to learn you a trade. That's enough time. Most of the time, like with these trade schools, what they be like 18 to 24 months, they don't be that deep like, a 4-year college degree. Some of you may want to get a 4-year college degree. That's enough time for you to do that too. Some of you may want to do a 2-year associate's degree. What I'm saying is you need to work on your craft with improving, um, putting some more tools in your toolbox because that day is going to come where a lot of jobs that are today heavily relying on physical people is not going to be a thing because of AI. Listen, it is what it is. I come out here to just share the information that I'm learning out here with you all. It's up to you for you to do as you will with it, to research it. That's what it's about. It's up to you. Listen, Linda, listen. I can lead you to the water, but I cannot make you drink. Don't say you ain't never heard it on this live. Don't say that you in the dark when stuff get funky. TSA, they start telling you, okay, we about to do some layoffs or whatever. Don't say that you were not warned because they say 3 to 5 years, but it can very well be sooner than that. So I would say starting immediately, start exploring ways that you can improve your skills to make yourself more marketable in the job force. Listen, listen. I didn't told you. I didn't told you. Virtue says, I doubt it'll be that long, Chic. Things happen fast. These jobs will be in the metaverse. So will the children's school learning and the metaverse. Listen, when you know, you know. Sound like you tapped in, Virtuous. Everybody ain't tapped in like that. Sabi said, what are you talking about? TSA came about because of 9/11. Yes, I know it came about because of 9/11, but don't mean that it can't go away. What is you saying? What is you saying? I done told you. See, some of y'all think fat meat ain't greasy. I done told you that they done came out and said the direction that they are trying to go. They are saying, hey, we're going this direction. So what that means is that there is no need for TSA like that. I don't know what part y'all missing. This just don't be that deep over here. This don't be that. Some of y'all just be right warriors. I'm saying that what they are saying, common sense said they are not going to need people in droves like that. If they normally got 500 right now operating at one time, they're not going to need that. They maybe can dwindle it down to 100. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Get your skills up. Get your skills up. Because the direction that our future is going, you're not going to need a lot of bodies to do a lot of the jobs today. AI is going to take over. Facts over feelings. I know some of y'all might be pissed off at the idea that some of y'all jobs might be going away, but it is what it is. You got some time to work through them emotions, but go ahead and work through them emotions so you can get to work and build yourself up so you will not be left behind. But we're going to be able to tell the ones who was left behind because then 3 to 5, whenever this ish pop off and you out here looking crazy, because you was that one trying to be the fighting in the comments because you didn't like what was being said. You could always tell them ones. They too busy fighting against what they're being told versus putting the work in. You can always tell those type. You can always tell those type. Help me help you. I'm giving you the information so you know how to move. So you can prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Whatever that looks like for you. Each and every one of you, you all know what fields you're in. Some of you all right now are able to see the writing on the wall with changes within your organization where they're trying to do more with less. They're trying to reduce headcounts. How about automating things? How many of you working in fields to where something that somebody used to physically do or multiple people was doing it, now they're automating it. And they're saying, okay, going forward, this right here is automated. So we no longer need you to do that part. You don't think that eventually, okay, that part going to make its way into other parts of the company? Y'all better act like you know. Y'all best act like you know. Y'all act like you know. Act like you know. Nobody's exempt from this. This information that I'm sharing, this applies to just everybody. You have to just be tapped in and just pay attention. Listen to these news outlets as they're talking about things that are to come. Because more often than not, you all, before we look up and see things that have changed, the changes, it was talked about prior to. Many of us, a lot of these things that we're seeing today, you can throw in, oh yeah, I remember when they said that, or I read that here. It was put out there. It was put out there, but you missed it. You missed it. You slept on it. You was busy fighting somebody because it didn't go with your narrative. It didn't make you feel warm and fuzzy. So you didn't want to pay attention to it because at that time you're like, okay, I don't like how that sounds. It's finna mess up my hustle, my money, the way my money flowing. So I just don't. But listen, just because you choose to be blind to something and choose to ignore it, don't make a thing not a thing. How you choose to handle something has absolutely no bearing on what is going on. That's just how you chose to handle it. That's how you chose to handle it. This shit, it like, listen, I done told y'all. I done told y'all. Y'all know anybody who familiar with my content. Y'all know I come out here and I talk my talk. I tell y'all, I try to enlighten y'all on what the F is going on so you can prepare yourselves. These folks done already said 3 to 5 years. Some of y'all in here like, y'all know it be faster than that. So you know if they said 3 to 5 years, y'all put yourself on a 2-year plan. How about that? Put yourself on a 2-year plan if you working at the airport. Just be ahead of the game because you don't want to wait and be in the hustle and bustle with trying to get a new job or whatever with everybody else. Get ahead of the game. Go ahead and get into that field before everybody learn that that's the move to make. Be in the front. Be the leader of the pack. By the time they jump on a bandwagon, you want to be able to say, "Oh, I've been doing this for a year or more now." You want to listen what they say, the early bird catches the worm. The early bird catches the worm. This is preparation. This is planning. Sonia said, wake up. Remember School Days? Wake up. Isn't that how they ended the movie? Pat says, information is knowledge. That's all I do. I come out here to give you all the information so you know how to move and you can move accordingly. That's what is rooted in. Preparation. Robert said during COVID, nobody wanted to work. Now everyone is looking for work. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So you got to get ahead of people. When you see somebody ain't willing to put that work in and they ain't doing that, that's when you want to put it in. So therefore, when they finally come around, you ahead of the game. You now in leadership. Because now they trying to run over to come do whatever said job or whatever, but you've been doing it for a minute now because you already seen the move. You seen the direction that society was going. You went ahead when your friends or whatever was doing whatever the heck they was doing. You was after work going and sitting in somebody's classroom. You was going to learn a trade. You was trying to improve and gain some new skills. When other people was comfortable thinking like, ooh, they sitting like fat rats, that money coming in, they were able to work overtime or whatever, but you were privy to the direction that the world was going. So while they out parlaying, you putting in that work. And now finally, year two, whatever, when they try to catch up and be on that type of time you want, guess what? You ahead of them. You probably gonna be some of their leaders. Some of they bosses, they finna be turning to you, looking for you to tell them to plug. That might create a whole new business lane for you. Because now you done already got your knowledge. Knowledge is power. Now you done started you can start your little business because guess what? Other people want to know what you know. You can charge people for that. Oh, you got to pay for this knowledge. So now you got you a little business to where you're teaching people how to do what you learned how to do when they was parlaying. Oh, now they interested. Oh my God, I want to learn cybersecurity. You already learned it. Guess who can teach cybersecurity now? You. The person who wasn't playing. The person who paid attention to see where the future was going. You. Be that person. That's how you create a lane for yourself. Y'all don't act, listen, y'all. I done told y'all it's up to you what you want to do with the information. I can lead you to the water. It's up for you to make it do what it do. Frank said 2 years, you mean 2 months plan. It's about to be so many people getting laid off this year. They better wake up. Listen, Frank, you know, no better time. You better start today. I guess clearly I'm being generous with this timeline. You better start today. Get on the internet, research it. A lot of times they be having these programs out here with these fundings and stuff that can pay you to get certain credentials and go back to school or whatever. Just do your due diligence. Start talking to folks. See what type of resources that are out there that can help you get to it. Because there is no better time than today. There's no better time than today. So knowledge is power. Just continue to invest in yourselves. Lotus Pop says, my people perish of lack of knowledge all day. How long we've been saying it? For years and years. All day. Gertrude says, the government moving, not crypto. I suggest you all do your research on which ones, because it's out there. Don't be stuck on the UBI. What's that? That's that universal, that income. That's been talked. How many of you are familiar with the whole universal income? The government wanting to go that route. That's control right there. If they that's like, hell, everybody been on Section 8 EBT. Usually when somebody's willing to give you something for free, that's control. That is control. I don't like that, because that's also putting a cap on how much money you can earn. That is limiting your earning potential when you're receiving a set amount of government income. And think about it, y'all. Today, if you ever piss them off or get in trouble, go to jail, you think you think you still getting that deposit? You think you still getting that deposit if they feeling like you done some wrongful ish? No. So then what you gonna do when you're not getting that government deposit? I'm just saying, y'all better think about these things. Stop being comfortable sitting and waiting on a handout. Create a lane for yourself, because once you create that lane for yourself, you can control your earning potential. As I said before, I'll repeat again, start learning some new stuff, because down the line, I promise you, it's going to be people who are going to be willing to pay you for your knowledge. They are going to want to get on. They're going to want to be put on. You can charge for that. You charge for that. Rico Terry says, love them live. Thank you so much. Y'all hit the like button. Thank you so much. All right, Virtuous. The world is going digital. Everything's going digital, AI. You just got to figure out how you can capitalize off of that. What type of jobs? What type of jobs are in? What type of jobs that are in that deals with just technology, AI, all of that. There's so many of them. There's so many of them. Oh, I'm telling y'all, these AI robots, somebody got to fix them when they break down. Some of these robots, they saying going to be able to program, like, so you might be able to take one robot and it can do the programming for the other robot. But to actually build the robots, that's going to be a person, right? Someone has to build those. Someone has to design those. So do your research, and hell, utilize ChatGPT as well. I utilize that sometimes where there's something quickly. I just want to know the answer to something. I'll throw it in ChatGPT. But I've asked ChatGPT about the jobs for the future and things like that, and it returned, hey, things centered around like technology. Or I'll ask it, hey, what are some jobs centered around AI that people can do? And I learned about like maintenance workers. You're going to need somebody who maybe can do the maintenance on the robots. You better get into it. You better get into it. You better figure it out. You better figure it out, because you're going to be left behind. You have time to work towards, you have time. Let me just say that. You have time. You just got to get out of your comfort zone and do what you need to do. So after your work shift, you might got to go spend some time maybe sitting in a classroom or even doing some online program or whatever. So you're going to have to sacrifice some of your free time that you normally are used to having, but you're investing in yourself. Look at it this way. You're investing in yourself. You're doing what you need to do today, so you'll be sitting in a better position tomorrow. That's what it's about. You investing in yourself. You got to invest in yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And that's what it comes down to. Nobody's going to do it for you. You have to invest in yourself. And it starts with expanding your knowledge. And once you expand your knowledge, figure out how you can share that knowledge and how you can earn an income from the knowledge that you now have. Because it's always going to be someone wanting to know what you know, right? Somebody always want to know what you know. So you can do classes. You can do online classes where through Teams or Zoom or whatever, where people sign up and you do your class to where you teach them the things that you've learned when they was out doing whatever they was doing and you was learning. Now that they're ready, you can hold classes and charge them for that. And now this is what you do. This is your business. This is your business. This is the way we have to be thinking today. Just Say When says, precious metal from me, gold and silver stack away. Dude, like, you got to figure out what it is, with how you can plan for your future. Dean Jones says, I'm from Australia and it's not free. It's based on your circumstances. The farmers in my country rely on poor people getting money from our federal government to buy local produce. Cree says, very true. Trade skills are so low. With trade skills, a lot of them, you don't really even probably need to go out there and really get any loans for them. But if you do, it's compared to like a traditional, like a college experience, it's going to be more affordable. And like I said, do your research to see if there's funding out there for certain type of industries where they will pay you to go to school. I remember at one point, I don't know if it's still the case, but when it came to like pilots, where it was there was a need for more pilots, so there were programs out there that was offering like free money and things like that for people who were willing to go to pilot school. Frank says God is angry. He's about to humble America and they know it's coming. That's why so many companies are shutting down. The change is here. Change is inevitable. It's just being aware and knowing when it's time to get up and get to moving. Virtuous says the Netflix movie Left Behind is not a coincidence. Left Behind. It's not a coincidence. Nothing's a coincidence. Pink Panther says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Matthew 6:33. South Florida says, God taking out this temple of Babel means shift power will be knocked out. Just Say When says, I am an airline employee. It's coming. It is coming. It is coming. Listen, it's coming. Y'all listen to these comments. Read the comments that people are putting in. That will help you too when you are in any of these chats. Because you got people who are tapped into some of these, the industries that I speak on. And they're able to let you know, if whether or not, what I'm saying, if it's kind of falling suit to some of the things that they are seeing. Like I said, even with all of us, many of us, most of us on here probably are employed by someone. Are you seeing shifts within your organization? Are you seeing more things being automated? Are you hearing about layoffs? Downsizing? Are you seeing people now being required to do more because the company is trying to do more with less, where they're cutting headcounts, but those who are still remaining employed, their job responsibilities have increased, but their pay has not increased? Are you seeing more companies go down the path of outsourcing, where things that was once done in-house or within the U.S., now they're brokering deals with other countries, India, China, Japan. They're having other countries do certain responsibilities because they find it to be cheaper. They find it there to be a savings by them outsourcing that sector, that division within the company. These things that I'm talking about, regardless of the industry, these are the type of things that you will see. If you pay attention. If you haven't been paying attention, it will behoove you to start paying attention. The next time you go to your jobs, start looking around. Ear hustle on some conversations. Y'all, you'll learn a lot by listening to what some people in the background are saying. Engage with some people who you normally don't have conversations with to get a better understanding of what's going on. People who are in different departments. People who maybe are in higher positions. Just shoot the breeze with them, because a lot of time person get comfortable enough, they just start spilling all the tea. They just start talking. And I am that person to where in any work, in any environment I'm that person who's having conversations with people. I'm a people person, if you haven't been able to tell. But me being this way has allowed for me to learn a lot of information. So I'm known as someone who just listen. You want to know something, go ask Sheik, because I've engaged likely with people in that area. I know some people. I've had conversations with people, and they've told me what's going on. And I take that information and I utilize that to my benefit, and I even share it like, yo, like, yo, listen. This is what's about to pop off. Don't say I ain't told you. This is about to pop off. This is how this is about to pop off. And this, I heard it from the horse's mouth. This is about to pop off. This is what it's about, y'all. That's why it's so important to build relationship. Virtuous, listen, Linda, listen, Linda, listen. Help me help you. Help me help you. Help me help you. Y'all better get out y'all comfort zone and start talking to people. Y'all better start talking to people, because I know just a lot of stuff just from being in conversations with people. Like, y'all, I know so much information, because when people just feel comfortable with you and like you, they'll just talk. They'll just get to talking. And I'm like, word? Say it ain't so. And, I ask questions because I'm listening and I'm having these conversations because I like people and I like to talk to people. But at the same time, I'm learning. So as I'm breaking bread with somebody, I'm learning too. And then I'm learning and I'm soaking it up so I can take it back to people to share with them. Yo, like, this is what's going on. You might want to do this because they're saying this is about to happen. This is how I protect myself. I protect myself by communicating with people, because I'm not caught like by surprise with a lot of stuff. I'm in the know. And when I become in the know, y'all, I go live and I come out here and I let y'all know. And it's up to you what you want to do with that information. Virtuous says, just say when. IKEA was hiring back in June last year to work in the metaverse. And yes, I'm aware of Amazon too. Just say Wednesday, my part-time job is Amazon. We have robots everywhere. Listen, y'all better ask somebody. These robots are coming. They are coming. This is the way of the future. There's nothing you can do about it. The best you can do is try to figure out how you can be a part of the shift. How can you be a part of it? Not fight against it, but how can you be a part of it? True One says, sharing is caring. I care. I come out here and I share. Sonia said, Project 2025 have been in the works for generations. That's why it's very beneficial to have these conversations with people, whether you're in these chats on the internet and when you're in person, when you're face to face with people. Y'all, when you're in the grocery stores and you're talking to people in the malls, like, just strike up conversations with people. Like, people will share. Like, people just, a lot of times people are used to someone just being willing to talk to them. So when they see someone who's willing to talk to them, like, they just airing it all out, because they ain't had nobody. Don't let you roll up on an older person, and y'all don't sleep on these older people, because the older people have been around for multiple generations. So they're seeing that, like, some of this ish that they're seeing today, they have likely seen it before. So they can talk to you about what they did to navigate through these trying times, because what they say, history repeats itself. Y'all, listen, I don't know who in here listening. But if you found your way to this live, this is where you're meant to be. Talk to these people. Talk to these people who are older than you. Listen, don't be about trying to be a right warrior and trying to prove somebody wrong. Just listen, because an older person, somebody who's older than you, meaning that, say, someone who's maybe the age of your parents, it ain't even no likely. They done seen this ish pop off before. They done seen shifts. They didn't seen people lose their jobs. They didn't seen people have to reinvent themselves to learn new skill sets because, okay, manufacturing was a thing to go back in the 80s and then it went away. And then so those people who learned how to build ish in high school and stuff, when they took those jobs away, now they didn't have nothing to do. So a lot of the men or the people turned to drugs and all kinds of other stuff because now they found themselves in a situation to not be able to provide for their families because all they knew how to do was to work with their hands. And those jobs went away. Those jobs went away. Those jobs went in the 80s because the country shifted to more of a service-led type place. So that's when the U.S. started outsourcing these jobs, the manufacturing jobs. How many of you in school, you took up the elective classes where you was learning how to use your hands, doing all the mechanic classes, the engineering classes, the wood class. Y'all know. Trary Business says smart. Listen. This ain't that deep. This is just me paying attention. This is me paying attention. So somebody who's probably in their 70s gonna talk to you and be like, "Yo, that's what it is, the shop class." They're gonna be like somebody who right now probably 70 gonna be like, "Sheik, you ain't never lied because I remember when these were the type of jobs that people was doing." And then it shifted from that. And I remember my neighbor, they marriage broke down and the husband, he turned to drugs. He couldn't do this, that because he couldn't provide. And my girlfriend, she had to go out there and get a job. And then the kids had to be at home by themselves because she had to figure out how to make it do what it do because he had went out there and got strung out on drugs after he lost his job. He lost his way. A lot of men, y'all, back in the 80s, they lost their way when they lost their job. They lost their way when they lost their job because they couldn't provide for their family no more. Listen, y'all. Doc, I appreciate the super chat. Y'all listen. Y'all can listen if you want to. I appreciate the super chat, Doc. I thank you so much. But listen, sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. And I come out here to share. I come out here to share because I want you to really think. Put your thinking caps on. History repeats itself. These times, y'all talking about they talking about the Great Depression and what are they saying? Recession, all that. Y'all, we've been here before. We in the living, and many of us weren't living at that time when that ish popped off. But you got some people, who were living during those times. Get in conversations with them. Talk to them about how they survived during those times. Some people who are living now during those times, they maybe were young children, but they know how their parents got through it because of conversations they had with their families. That's what I'm saying. Y'all have conversations with people because we're gonna rely on one another more than we ever had before to get through these times because they're hard and they're tough. It's no every man for himself. We got to come together. What they say, there's strength in numbers. There are strength in numbers. I see coming together more than ever before in my 44 years of living. Just when this comes to these changes with government stuff, the people on the corners, the people in DC. When I just left DC, I wasn't seeing just black people by themselves with their signs or whatever, or white people over here with their signs. No, these people was together because they have a common they issues. They got the same thing in common. They're strength in numbers, so they're coming together. They're not fighting one another. It's like a haves against the have-nots. The have-nots are coming together. The have-nots today, you all, are the working class people. So if I say the have-nots, that's the working class people. That's many of you who come over to my channel and watch my content. You are class. You're in the category of the have-nots. Y'all, middle class is gone. You either you got it or you don't. You either you rich or you not. I'm sorry, it might hurt some of y'all feelings. It is what it is. It is what it is. Virtuous said, and let's not talk about these 15-minute cities they build. And Lord help us, another story. Virtuous, the 15 that. Everything virtuous. Again, you are someone who's tapped in, who's very much aware. Some people on here may not even know what the heck a 15-minute city means. That this is a radius and you're not going to be allowed to go beyond this radius. Get caught outside of this radius and see what happened. Get into it. Go on the internet. Go to the search engine DuckDuckGo. Type in 15-minute cities. This stuff is out there. It's not information you will hear on mainstream media. That's what I'm saying, y'all. A lot of the things that you hear me talk about, you're not going to hear it in the mainstream media. I move around. I'm tapped into different outlets. I have different sources. Robert S., new subscriber here. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much. You all hit the like button. We have to come together in a way that many of us have never came together before. That is the moral of the story. That is today's message. We got to come together. There are strength in numbers. The next time you have opportunity to talk to someone who's a senior, someone who's been around at least probably 20 years longer than you, 15, 20 years longer than you, talk to them about their past, their history, as far as what the job market looked like when they were in maybe their 20s. Talk to them about what type of work their parents did when they were raising them. What type of quality of life did they have? Because when you talking to them and getting answers to these types of questions can help you understand what's going on today, and give you and help to increase your faith that you can get through it. Because these people, again, like I said, they've seen it before. They've gotten through it before. Many of us, this is our first time seeing this ish. So we like, what the freak is going on? Like, I wasn't ready. And my Kevin, I wasn't ready. Many of us, we're not ready. We are not ready. But we got to move past that and get ready. We got to get ready. You got to figure out what that looks like for you. And for starters, start listening to what other people got to say, and don't think that you got all the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway. And Kanye, you ain't got the answers, Sway. You don't have all the answers. None of us have all the answers. That's why it's important to have conversations with one another, because we bounce off of one another. I come on live, I tell you what I know, I read the comments, and I learn what you know. And guess what? I walk away knowing more than what I knew when I started the live. This is how it goes. Terverdis Youth says school helped uncut. What it says, schools helped undercut shop training. They steer kids with good grades away from shop and vocational training in order to improve the school's report card and college attendance record. And here's the thing: the ones who are out here talking about I ain't got no job and getting laid off, they the people who got the college degrees. The people like me who got all the education in the world, that's that middle class. Remember I said it ain't no middle class anymore? Because back in, what was that, 2008, around that time, let me see, the first time I got laid off was in, okay, this is going to be the second time. The second time I got laid off was in 2011. Around that time, that is when the middle class was mostly hit with the job layoffs. Those are the people with the college degrees. So here it is, the people with the college degrees, like we're the ones that are on the soup line, people, like, because these corporations are shutting down. They're doing mass layoffs. But remember, they took away those shop those classes, those elective classes, or in high school where you can do things and learn to do things like with your hands. Y'all remember home ec, where they had that in school? Some of the girls would do the home ec. Some people learned how to do not only cooking but sewing, like in school. I didn't take none of them classes, but I know my sisters did and some other girls did. I remember taking an accounting class because remember I was college bound. So because I was college bound, the type of diploma, my high school diploma, they had two types of high school diplomas when I was in school. They called one college, it was the college bound, and then they had one which was the technical diploma. So I was on the college bound one. So like my elective classes, things like that, was centered around things that you might take in college, as someone said, how the shift. I graduated in 99. So My classes was more so centered around just the mentals versus like hands-on stuff. Whereas like my sisters, like the diploma, their technical type diploma, their classes, like their electives was things centered around using their hands. So they took some of like the home ec classes, those classes. I didn't take those classes. One sister took like cosmetology. One took like the home ec class. Like they were taking those classes. I didn't take any of those classes. But the college educated, the people with all the degrees and stuff, they the ones that's, getting the job snatched away from. Listen, as I say, it's hard out here for a pimp. It is hard. I told you it's hard. If you don't understand by now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you because I done told you it is hard out here for a pimp. And you got people saying that in Canada, people saying that in China. Y'all seen them people in China running, scrambling, getting all the groceries and stuff out the store because they said, Chic, you're right, it is hard out here for a pimp. They saying that in Mandarin. I'm sure somebody out there saying it because it is. Y'all know it's hard out here. Robert S. says they eliminated the middle class because they were the ones that were the thinkers. When you know, you know. True One says pimping ain't easy. It ain't. Listen, this is the thing. This is what brought everybody together, what we all can relate to. Pimping ain't easy. It is hard out here for a pimp. That is universal. Everybody on that, Tasha K, I ain't got it. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. Doc said it's hard. It is. Whether you got degrees or not, it is hard. It is hard. So I don't downplay nobody hustle. Content creators, y'all, for your favorite content creators, support them. Simply as liking the video, watching the video through. It makes a difference with the watch time. If you have a content creator that you like, support them. For starters, like the video. It helps with the algorithm. Watch the video. Because our channels, those of us who are monetized, it makes a difference on how long you're watching the video. So it's a combination of the views, how many of you come, and then how long you're watching the video. Support, because it's hard out here for a pimp. Pimping ain't easy. Hashtag pimping ain't easy. Hashtag it is hard out here for a pimp. Bertrand says, OG, it's stupid to you, but smart for some people because hard times coming and tissue will be like gold. COVID should have taught everyone a lesson. Just Say Win says, I've never been part of the go along, get along. I am a free thinker. Listen, you need to be a free thinker, but those who are not a free thinker, those are not going to be the ones who are left behind. Those are going to be the ones who are left behind. And for any of you who may wonder or have the question of what is a free thinker is someone who puts in the work and who does their own research, who will not just go stand in line to get something without having a full understanding for themselves on what exactly it is that they're standing in line for, what exactly it is that they're subscribing to. They ask questions. Free thinkers will ask questions. Asking question meaning taking that question to somebody who may be versed in that or in that field, or even going to the internet and doing your research. Smart people ask questions. That's why I affectionately refer to my subscribers as honor students, because we are students of life. We ask questions. We elevate ourselves. We require people to step up to our level. We don't come down. We're not easily led. We ask questions. Don't ever allow for someone to make you feel bad for asking questions. I've always been one to ask questions. Smart people ask questions. Think about it. Any of you, think about the smartest and the smartest people you know. Are they people that ask a lot of questions? Because if they know a lot of information, is rooted in them asking questions. What they say, asking, you shall receive. Asking questions consists of you asking someone an actual question and also taking it to the internet. When a question pops in your head, you're like, I want to know. I want to know. Let me seek this out. Let me open up a book to try to find an answer. Let me go to the Google, go to the internet and explore and see what information returns from that. Let me check out this chat GPT that's popping off. Let me bump that up to what chat GPT is saying versus what I'm seeing out here in real life. This is what I'm saying. It's so many ways when I say ask questions that listen, if you know, you know, ask questions. That means don't sit in the place of unknown, like, well, I don't know what this means or what this is, so I'm just gonna sit. That's not what you do. When you don't know, you seek out answers. That's what you do. You don't be a sitting duck. You seek out answers when you don't know. That's what smart people do. Smart people ask questions. Some of y'all may not know that, but that's the root of it. That's how they know. You ask questions. All smart people I know ask questions. It's like, really, when you think about it, you're like, how else would you know something if you didn't ask a question, right? So don't feel bad if somebody say, "Oh my God, you're always asking questions." I bet you smarter than they are. I bet you when they want to know some ish, they gonna come to you and ask you, because that's been my experience. I've always been the one be teased because I ask a lot of questions. But guess who they come to when they seeking out information and answers? Me. Me, the person who asks a lot of questions. So I ain't never felt bad if somebody having something to say about me asking questions, or even me getting into conversations with strangers, because that's another thing where people would always laugh at me because I'll talk to any and everyone. But that this is that's the background to who's right before you right here. Someone who talks to different people and asks questions. That's why I can be here before you saying the things that I say, because it's rooted in me seeking out answers, expanding my knowledge, not only formal, because I have a lot of educational degrees, but just tapping in with people. Like, I just tap in with people. Most of the things, you all, that I talk about, you all, it's nothing that came from like my formal education. The information I have is a result of me engaging with people, doing my research, listening to various types of news outlets, going to Google, putting in things, questions that I have. I'm not a one-stop shop. I need for y'all to understand, it's not a one-stop shop over here with me. I use different types of resources to tap in, to learn, to enlighten myself. It's not one thing. What they say, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. I don't utilize one way to learn. I'm a people person. I like to engage with people. So I always say my favorite subject is people. I prefer to engage, and that's why I like content creation, because I can come out here and I can interact and I can engage with you all. That's why I like it. Let me get through some of these comments. You all come on in here. We had 100 likes, 160 of you in the building. Just double tap the screen, hit a like button. If you do have a comment that you want me to see, you can send a super chat because it comes up in color so I can see it easily. But there's a lot of comments in here. Cristiano says, do you like Trump? I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump. So here's my thing when it come for Trump. I voted for Trump. I'm here for the vast majority of the things that Trump has done since he's been in office, but there are things that I'm not here for. If you are new to my channel, please like, share, subscribe, so you can come to learn and understand me as a content creator and my views. But I am a person to where I support Trump, but I don't support everything that he's been doing since he's been in office. So I've gone into it in multiple videos on the things I'm here for, the versus the things that I'm not. But that's where it is. Like with any and everyone, people, you're not going to always 100% rock with everything someone does, whether it's your spouse, your children, your neighbor, your sibling, your mama and your daddy. You're not going to be here for everything that everyone does, but that doesn't mean that you don't support them as a whole, with just as an individual, as a person. I support Trump as he is the leader of our country. I voted on for him because I rocked with his vision on the direction of where he wanted to take our country. I voted for Trump because he ran on common sense. I voted for Trump because what was taking place with our government at the time with the Democrats was just leading us to the pits of hell. Some people probably already felt like we already was there. So I voted for change. I needed something else. I needed something else. And one thing Trump is doing is that he's doing all the things that he ran on, then some. So right now, as he's making his moves, I'm reflecting on my reasons for why I voted for him. And I'm not seeing in the certain things that maybe he may be doing that I'm like, oh, I don't like that, because I know there's so much that he's doing that I can't get stuck on the one thing that he may be doing that I don't like, and just completely forget about the plethora of other things that he's doing that I do like. You see what I'm saying? Because remember, you're not going to always be here 100% for everything someone does. Like, really think about that. People will disappoint you. Your children will disappoint you. Your spouse will disappoint you, but it doesn't mean that you don't rock with them. You're disappointed with them for that particular behavior, for that thing. But they know that you still love and support them, but you're like, yo, I can't co-sign that. I love and support you, but I can't co-sign that. You got to fix that. That is no different with how I view Trump and how he's leading this country. That's how I view him. So there's pros and cons to, what I feel as far as what's been going on with, underneath his leadership. But for the most part, I feel like it's mostly pros. And I'm here for it. I feel like we are definitely going in the right direction. I am optimistic about where he's leading our country. I feel like we're going through growing pains, but I'm trusting in his leadership. Why? Because he led this country before. And I felt like when he led this country before, he led it in a way that was better than the last couple of Democratic leaders that we've had in office. That's my opinion. And clearly that was the opinion of a whole lot of people, because he won by leaps and bounds. It wasn't just Sheik who voted him in. There were a lot of people who voted him in. And really, I really think it was rooted in people wanted change, because what we had been getting for the past 4 years, it wasn't giving. People are like, we got to do something. We got to do something different, because what we've been doing, it ain't been working. It has not been working. It's time for us to do something different. And to me, Trump ran on common sense. Just simple as that. Simple as that. Like, to sum it up in a nutshell, that man ran on common sense. Common sense. So that's on that. Robert S. says the tariff situation should have been done 30 years ago. Right. Trump was on Oprah almost 30 years ago talking about how effed up our country is and how other countries like China and things are getting over on us when it comes to these tariffs. He's now in a position for a second time to do something about it. So this thing has been a thing. We finally got someone who had the courage to change things. And that's hard for a lot of people. Because remember, you got so many people who they will rather go along with the get along, because they don't want to be viewed as somebody who's going against the grain, who's different. How many of you are one of those people to where you're different? You choose to not go along with everyone else, and everybody recognize that you're different. And some of you may get the business because you're different. And hopefully those of you who do get the business, you don't care what somebody says about you being different, because you can stand 10 toes down on who you are. And you're not easily led you're not easily led into going down a path because everybody else doing it. How many of you got family members who are already looking at you crazy and side-eye because your view is different from theirs? So you don't even talk to them really anymore, because they can't understand why you think the way you think, but you know something that they don't know. You're enlightened in a way that they're not enlightened. So as a result of you choosing to walk in your truth, you now have sacrificed relationships. D says we don't have to give Mexico our water. They were supposed to give us water from the Rio Grande, but they don't at Chic. Right. I mean, we don't. And I started this live out earlier. I talked about, or somewhere midway, I've been on here for a little while, where, yeah, Trump, like, you guys owe us. Y'all been taking the water from us for a long time. We not giving you any more water. Go ahead and work on giving us the water you owe us. Then after you pay that forward, then we can talk about, helping you out. But that's like I said, somebody owing you money and they coming back to you saying, can I get another 500? And they already owe you 5,000. Like, where they do that at? But you got some, you can't knock somebody for asking. It's up to you if you want to oblige, if you want to give it to them. But so Mexico, like, we might gonna sound crazy and look crazy going to them asking for their help, but we gotta do what we gotta do. So they went to President Trump, the Trump administration was like, yo, like, we need your help. And Trump was like, all right, then, I respect the hustle, but we ain't got it. We ain't got it. And let me tell you why we ain't got it. Taylor Made 333 said Obama and Hillary even said something needed to be done about the tariff and didn't do anything. But now Trump says it and everyone has a problem with it. Y'all remember when Obama, speaking of other administrations, do y'all know that when Obama was in office, Obama was the one that had them gates? Remember, yeah, he had them cages. So when the immigrants was crossing the border, and when there were children, they had the children in like the cages. Y'all remember that? See, a lot of this ish just popping off. More janky stuff was happening under other previous administrations. But though when Trump come in and do something, then all hell break loose. Folks act like that they ain't never heard, that they so appalled. Obama had them babies, y'all, in cages. Who have y'all seen Trump have in cages? He done sent them fools to CCOT, who was doing the absolute most, but he ain't put nobody kids in no cages or nothing. Obama had them babies in cages when they crossed over the border. I remember that. I remember that. Clem Buck says, I love this woman. She's a keeper. Thank you so much. Y'all remember that when Obama had them babies in them cages? Because those were the kids who came over and they wasn't accompanied with parents. I think it was those kids. And y'all, all these kids that have come over, they don't even know where these kids at. Y'all, I've been talking this stuff for a little minute now. I got a live out there where it's talking about the missing kids, the kids that have come over here. And guess what? The government don't even know where these babies at. Remember the kids that was in cages? Where they at? Where they at? We looking for them kids like we looking for that little white girl that Puffy had, that he was during the pandemic, that he said he had adopted, and he had in that live stream with his other kids. And they was all telling they signs, they zodiac signs. Y'all remember that little white girl? Everybody wondering where she at. That's why we on this type of time where we wondering where them Hispanic little kids at. Where are the babies? Where are the children? Tammy says 220,000 missing illegal children lost. Where they at? Where they at? But we talking about Trump sending folks to CCOT. We talking about Trump telling Mexico, no, we ain't giving you no more water because you need to run us the water that you've been stealing from us, stealing from Texas. So now they ain't got no water and they having to shut their business down. Let's talk about it, y'all. I come out here to talk about it because I'm going to talk about it in a way that I promise you nobody else is talking about it. I'm going to talk about it in a way that I promise you nobody else is talking about it. Mainstream media don't cover this type of ish. They are bought and paid for. I'm not. I talk about the things I want to talk about, and I'm going to hit y'all with some real stuff. I don't know no other way to do it. In case y'all ain't figured that out, some of y'all might be new over here, but the only way I know how to kick it to you is the real. I don't know no other way. Y'all can drop it in the comments and tell me what the other way look like, because I don't know. I don't know that way. I don't know that way. Real Talk said, I'm subscribing to you. Thank you, Real Talk. Y'all, I promise you, I don't know no other way than to kick it real. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all can put it in the comments and let me know how to do it. Just like I say, listen, I go from 0 to 10. I'm a Scorpio through and through. I ain't got no 5. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. I am a work in progress, y'all. I am a work in progress. Please give me some grace and like the video, like, share, and subscribe. Road to 2,000 subscribers. Y'all, I'm just trying to enlighten and share the information with the people that's not been shared. Strategically, it's not been shared because the powers that be don't want you to be woke. They don't want you to be enlightened. They want you to be a sheep. D says, need more people that do their own research like you and not just repeat what they see on TV. This is what people do all day long. It's far easier to just repeat. Listen, someone sent me yesterday an article about Trump putting tariffs and stuff on these countries that don't even have people there. And you got penguins and seals and stuff there. I don't know if it was Antarctica or something. I can't remember if that was a country. So you all, I'm reading the article, and the person that sent me this, it was a family member, and so they sent them, was like, make this make sense. How is he putting tariffs on the countries that don't have people? You all, let me tell you what I simply did. I simply clicked on the article and read it. In the article, it talked about how other countries are going through these countries, say like in Antarctica, wherever, can't remember the country that it was, but the country that don't have people, these other countries are going through those countries to import, to ship out their goods, because previously there was maybe no tariffs on there. It's because no people was there. So people, listen, it's hard out here for a pimp. The hustler's like, yo, yo, yo. Right now, they ain't got no tariffs over here. So let's go ahead and make our way over here and ship out our goods to wherever they need to go. Therefore, we can bypass the tariffs. That is what that article said. That article talked about the hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of money that has been made, that people have gotten around spending because they were going through these countries that didn't have people. So I'm like, sis, like, did you read the article? Because the article is saying people are, they found a loophole to go through that country. They found a loophole. So Trump like, all right, then I see what y'all slick mofos doing. We finna put a tariff on that country too, with them seals and penguins at. We gonna put a tariff on there too. So if you do choose to want to go through that country to handle your business, you will have to pay the tariffs that are on that country. I told y'all all I did was read the article. This that issue I be talking about. Sometimes people get stuck on the headlines. They get stuck on the headlines. Oh, Trump putting tariff on countries that don't have people there, and they don't even open up the doggone article to read. Y'all, this issue ain't that deep. This that issue I be talking about. It don't be that deep. It don't be that deep. It is simple as reading for yourself, getting past the headline. This is what the challenge, the homework for you today. Read beyond the headline. Open it up and read it. Read it. Don't get stuck on the headline. Trump putting tariffs on countries where people don't live. Read it. I promise you, you're going to learn something. I promise you. I promise you, you're going to learn something. You are going to learn something. You're going to learn something. It's crazy, yo. This is crazy. This is diabolical. This is what's diabolical. This right here. People would get stuck on headlines, and that's it, and just think like they just damn just hit you, clocked you with something because they done read a title to something, but didn't click to even read what they're sharing. This that issue I'm talking about. Reading is fundamental. Looking up says about 36% of the eligible voting age population did not vote. This number is greater than the number of people who voted for either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Sanders says we pay for tariffs. Dee says she's quick to respond because she doesn't have to make up answers. She's knowledgeable on what she's speaking on. Thank you for recognizing that. You all, I study this ish. I studied this ish before I come to you on any live. I'm in the lab. Y'all taking damn notes. I have a notebook. So when I'm walking and I'm talking, it's harder for me to like really kind of go into it. But y'all don't let your girl have a seat and sit and just sit in the chair, because y'all gonna learn something today, because I got my notes, because it's so much out there. And I read beyond the headline. I'm reading, I'm listening to different news outlets. I'm trying to understand, because in order for me to come out here and speak it to you all, I have to gain an understanding for myself. That's where it's rooted at. And what they say, when it's not a lie, it can just roll off your brain like that. Y'all, because I'm learning this stuff. I'm not getting creative, making up ish. I promise you, I'm not a creative person like that. I'm an enlightened person, but I don't describe myself as creative. That's just not me. I'm very studious, so I learn. This ish has my attention in a way like never before, because I see how many people's lives are being impacted by all that's going on. Like, we're all impacted by this ish. F what's going on with the celebrities, y'all. It's hard for me to even talk about what the F of Kanye doing, what a P. Diddy doing, because the real deal is what's going on with the working class people. People losing their jobs. People not having, being able to put food on the table. Inflation, gas prices. Like, that's what got my attention. It's hard for me to be trying to worry about Jay-Z and Beyonce. I'm sorry. I'm just not your girl to tell you what's going on with that. I can't do it, because rich people problems is not the same as the working class people problems. And right now my focus is on the working class people. So that's the type of content that as of late I've been putting on this channel, and it gets far more clicks and views than any celebrity piece of content I have ever put on any one of my channels, because I have two channels. This actually is a smaller channel. I have a larger channel. Both of my channels are now monetized. This channel, because I be kicking this politics stuff, get way more views than my other channel. And it's a smaller channel. Why? Because it's the content. Y'all give a damn about this versus that other ish that I've been talking on the other channel, centered around them celebrities, content creators. Listen, y'all don't care about that kind of stuff. Y'all don't care about that kind of stuff. It shows in the numbers. It shows in the numbers. Y'all want to know, like, we gonna have jobs out here? What's going on? What's going on? Will I be able to afford to buy a car for my teenager? Like, people want to know this type of stuff. Miss me with all the other shenanigans, and I'm here for it. That's why I come out here and I talk to you all about the stuff that's going on in the world that's impacting us all. That's impacting us all. You can be in denial about what's going on if you want to, but good luck. But listen, good luck. Good luck. That's all I can say to you. Good luck. Good luck. Super Soaker says, absolutely. And these rich people in the office trying to make it even harder for us all. The haves and the have-nots. That's where we're at. The haves and the have-nots. Blessing, thank you for the super chat. You says, keep it real. Don't let the shallow thinkers ruin your outlook on life. Thank you so much for that. It's not always easy to be that one that's willing to say what needs to be said. And I'm someone to where I'm willing to do what a lot of people aren't willing to do for whatever reason, fear. But I'm at a point, it wasn't overnight for me to get to this place to be comfortable and confident enough to talk my talk and not care about what someone thinks about what my truth is. This didn't come overnight, but this is the place that I am in my life. And I don't want to leave this place, because it's nothing like being able to live in your truth and not care about what the next person think. You got to try it. Because when you get to that place, you never want to go back to that place where you cared about what somebody had to say. You ought to try it. Give it a try. It's so liberating. Give it a try. Give it a try. Don't care about what the next mofo say. You live in your truth. You stand 10 toes down on what you believe in. You stand on it. You do your research. You back whatever it is that you support. If you say you support Trump, you back that. You stand 10 toes down on that. If you say you support whoever else, listen, you back it. But you have your receipts. Don't have your receipt be centered around, okay, well, I support the, Biden or Kamala, but you don't have nothing solid to stand on. Your argument is everything with Trump's name in it. Well, Trump's doing this, that. Okay, let's talk about your candidate. Can you share with me why your candidate is the stronger candidate? What has your candidate done? What is your candidate plans on doing to fix this and that? I noticed that the other side, they don't do that. They shifted to what Trump is doing or not doing versus having a conversation about their candidate and why their candidate is the better candidate, the stronger candidate. You all ever notice that? I've seen that a lot during last year when leading up to the presidential vote, where when people would have conversations with people who were supporters of Kamala, it's like they didn't have a strong argument as to why they supported her. It was more so their conversation was centered around, well, what Trump was doing or not doing. So it's just like, okay, well, can we have a conversation? Just remove him and you just talk about your candidate and why your candidate is the person. I don't know why nobody couldn't seem to do it. It just couldn't be done. I don't know why there were so many people I've seen that was unable to do it. Trump name always got inserted. They could never stand on, okay, well, I'm rocking for this person because they're doing this, this, and that. It would, the conversation, you all, wouldn't go that way. It would always go in the direction of, well, Trump's doing this. Like, okay, well, I think Kamala would even do that. It's just like, okay, well, let's talk about you. What are you going to do? They couldn't do it. Why? Because they didn't have anything to stand on. They just didn't want him in there. But okay, well, outside of him, what are you going to do? They could never speak to it. Hence why she lost miserably. Because she could never stand 10 toes down on anything. So people would be left confused on what she was even running on, because the whole conversation was her just talking about what Trump was doing or not doing. Okay, well, what are you standing on? What's your stance? Yeah, but Trump's doing. Oh. That's why she lost. For some of y'all who in here pissed off that your girl lost, that's why. She wasn't standing on nothing. She was not standing on nothing. Real talk said nobody worships Trump. We respect what he's doing. That part. We just respect that he doing something. He ain't out here. Whenever he would speak, you didn't hear Trump heavily having Kamala's name in his mouth. Like, he was just saying, yo, Ish effed up. But this is what I'm about to do because Ish is effed up. Like, that's what was taking place. Y'all know it was completely different energy when Trump would speak versus Kamala. Like, we could understand what Trump, that's why even the Democrats was the first one said. I remember Jasmine Crockett, one of the first times I heard her speak after Trump's inauguration. One thing she said, well, one thing Trump, he doing everything he said he was going to do. Y'all, she a Democrat. So if the Democrat is saying he doing everything that he said he going to do, she's a Democrat. The Democrats are even seeing that Trump standing on business because they are the first to say that man doing everything he said he was going to do. Guess what? People aren't seeing people stand on business the way they see Trump stand on business. They're not used to it. They're used to people running on lies. And then when they get in the White House, they're used to people not doing what they said they was going to do. So when he got in the White House and then he started doing what he said he was going to do, people clutch their invisible pearls because it's like, wait a minute. I know you said that, but I mean, I didn't think you were going to do it. I mean, I just thought you were just talking. Like, they wasn't ready. Everybody was on that Kevin Hart. I wasn't ready. And that's what got people shocked because we've never really seen that like that, where somebody literally ran on, I'm going to do this. And then literally day one, they start doing that. Like, who else we seen? Because Obama dang sure didn't do that. Obama dang sure didn't do that in none of the terms he was in there for. People wasn't ready. I even have been reminded on some of the things, and people were like, well, he said, I'm like, dang, I guess, I missed that part because he was saying so much, and I knew the things that had my attention. But everybody, like Democrats, Republicans, everybody are in agreement that this is what he ran on. And the people who I think that's looking the most crazy is really the farmers and the people of the Hispanic community, because both of those groups heavily supported him. And here it is now, they're being impacted by these changes that he's making. And it's just like, well, I mean, he said, like, okay, he said he was going to regulate the immigration, and you still went out and voted for him. Who did you think was going to replace Carlos and Maria and Enrique? Like, who was going to do that work? Because remember, you voted for him, so you knew that he said, hey, we're going to get immigration under control. But remember, I told y'all, people ain't used to somebody standing on business the way that he stood on business, to where they were just so happy with and wanting just to support him, to where they really weren't really taking in all that he was saying he was going to do and how it was going to impact them. That's why I say you vote on your best interests. I voted on what my best interest was. What my best interest may not be what a farmer's best interest is. Because to me, a farmer's best interest, to me, it doesn't seem like would be to vote to have Hispanic people, illegal immigrants sent back home. To me, because they utilize them for like staff, employees. Like those are their employees, those are their workers. So to me, it doesn't make sense that you would vote for someone to want to come in and remove your workers from your business. But I don't operate a business where I rely on illegal immigrants to run my business. So me voting for Trump, okay, that makes sense. But the farmer voting for Trump who has hundreds of illegal immigrants working their land, that doesn't make sense to me. So that's why I say, y'all, we have to vote on our best interests. We have to get out of voting on color, Republican, Democrat. I am an independent. I'm voting on what are you running on? Will it impact me and mine? That's how we should be voting. But a lot of people have just been voting based on red and blue. And because they voted just based on red and blue, they down bad out here. They down bad because they didn't pay attention to nothing that person was saying, because they was like the Bloods and the Crips. They was on they I'm blood, I'm Crip type thing. And now that Trump is in office and he's doing and implementing everything that he said he was going to do, these same people who voted for him are now shook. They're like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, okay, okay. I guess I missed that part. I didn't think it was going to impact me. Well, what did you think it like? I'm confused, farmer. I'm confused. Mr. Henry, I'm confused. Mr. Henry, you said you got 20,000 acres of land, farmland. Mr. Henry, you said that all of your workers are illegal immigrants. Mr. Henry, help me understand. Help me understand your thought process when you said you want to vote for the person who would remove your workers. Help me understand who you thought was going to do the work on 20 acres. Help me, because I'm lost out here. I'm confused. I am confused, Mr. Henry. I'm going to need for you to help me understand, Mr. Henry. I have yet to see someone on the internet, because y'all know you got all these TikTok videos out here where someone explaining, a farmer explaining who they thought, what their understanding was when Trump said, I'm going to, remove the illegal immigrants. I have yet to hear a farmer say what they thought, how they thought it was going to work out with their workers being removed and someone still working their land. I'm still waiting to hear that. I'm still waiting to hear that. And I haven't seen that video yet where a farmer outright explained who they thought was going to, work their land when the illegal immigrants got removed. Welcome, Big D. Thank you so much. D says, pay them pennies and then turn around and say they aren't slaves. Might as well call them servants. Yes, one farmer said, listen, I think he had about 20 acres of land. He was down to 5, I think. How many workers he normally had? It was in the hundreds of what he had. He said he was down to 5 because the other ones were not coming to work because they was afraid of them folks, ice rolling up on them. So he had 5 workers, and he said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then there was a farmer who said that if I were to hire just a legal people to work and pay them minimum wage, he said he would be out of business in a year. He said he cannot afford to pay minimum wage. Excuse me. So I couldn't help but to wonder how much was he paying them illegal workers, them immigrants. If he's saying that he can't afford to pay minimum wage, sir, Mr. Henry, how much was you paying Carlos and Maria? Like, how much were you paying them? Were you paying them $2.50? Like, how much? If you're saying, because y'all, like, I know in Georgia, I think our minimum wage is around like $7. So places like with these farmland places like Iowa and all that, I don't know what their minimum wage is, but this man says he cannot afford to pay minimum wage. Sir, you need to not even have you a business set up if you can't even afford to pay your employees minimum wage. First of all, with the cost of things, there is no place in the USA that I feel like minimum wage cuts it. Minimum wage hasn't cut it in a long time. So for you to say that you can't even afford to pay that, sir, I'm gonna need for you to shut down shop. I'm gonna need for you to go ahead and close down shop. Go ahead and go on up the street to Costco, Sam's, McDonald's, whatever, and get you a job, get you a W-2 job, because the fact and work you minimum wage where somebody can afford to pay you minimum wage. If you're saying that you can't afford to pay somebody else minimum wage, this is great. This talking diabolical. That's diabolical right there. That is diabolical right there. But this is the reality of the situation. And the federal government have already said, y'all, don't let us roll up on a company. So I was listening to like a week ago the Department of Homeland Security. They got them a little hotline, they said, where people can call and drop dimes on companies who are employ illegal aliens and immigrants. So they is like, if they roll up on you and you're a business owner and you have anybody working for you that's not documented, that's illegal, they will shut down your business and you will be arrested. If they can prove that you were aware that these people who you were employing were not legal, you will be dealt with. You will be dealt with. Y'all, I heard this man on a press conference. They say you will be dealt with. So any of you who do have businesses out there and you are employing people who are illegal, it would behoove you to find you some new employees, some that do got their paperwork that are legal, because if you are caught, they will shut down your business. You will have no business. You and Carlos and Maria, all y'all gonna be unemployed. Everybody on the soup line, all y'all gonna be behind bars because they said that they're gonna take you in. They're arresting you. They're taking you in. Also, I need for you to understand that right now with this whole illegal immigration, they do not have to have warrants. Right now, if they suspect that someone is an illegal immigrant or a business is employing people who are illegal immigrants, they can just roll up on you. ICE can roll up on you. They do not have to have a warrant to roll up on you and apprehend you. They do not. They don't have to do that. They're operating off of some different rules. There's some different rules if they suspect you are an illegal immigrant. No paperwork required. No paperwork required. Y'all better stay tapped in, do your research, listen to these news outlets so you understand what's going on, because it can help you understand how to move out here in these streets. I know this information just because I have an interest in wanting to know what the F is going on so I can come out here and share with you all. And also I just know, how just what's going on. You should want to be in the know. You should want to be in the know. Real Talk says, how can you not know that your employee is an illegal immigrant? Exactly. But they threw that little caveat out there, Real Talk. They said, if we can prove that you knew, because you should know your employee is illegal, right? But so that they did throw that out there. If we can prove that you knew that your employee was illegal, we rounding you up, period. Cherry said, if they don't live on this property and he is not feeding them, then yes, this is wrong. I bet he would not do the same for you if you work for him. That was the thought I had. I wondered if these workers, if they lived on his land, because, and like one of the workers you all that was in the camera being interviewed, remember, there's only 5 of them that was bold enough to show up to work. And one of the workers had been working for him for like 30 years, you all. I didn't even know you had some illegal immigrants out here putting in that field work like that. This man been here since, it was like 30 years, like the 90s, early 90s. And he been working for this same farmer, same white farmer. And the cameraman asked him, sir, are you illegal? And he smiled before the camera and said yes. But he was willing to risk it all for his employer to go out there and work that field work for however couple of dollars that he was being paid to work on the farmland. And he said, I'm not legal. But that's how loyal he clearly is to his employer. And also, I guess, he needs the money. So he's willing to just be out there risking it all to just collect that little check. Because it got to be little. Because if they talking about I can't afford minimum wage, them checks ain't hitting on nothing. Them checks ain't hitting on nothing. Them checks aren't hitting on nothing. So this is what's going on, y'all. It's a lot. It's a lot going on out here. Just be tapped in, you all. Stay vigilant. Ask questions. Get in conversations with people. Do your research. Don't just go off of what someone said. Like even these things that you've heard me say. Deep dive. Go do your research. L Train said January 22nd, ICE took out 30 people from a turkey plant here in southern Indiana. 30 people. That's a lot of people. Debbie said construction companies pay them cash. The fact that you got to pay somebody cash, that's an indicator that you know that they ain't got their paperwork. You paying them under the table. That's what under the table means. Virtuous says hashtag research, research, research. Do your research. Anything that you hear me talk about or anybody else talk about, do your research. Go deep. Try to understand. Try to understand, what's really going on out here. Get an understanding for yourself. Because sometimes when somebody says something, you may not fully understand it that first time when they're saying it. So you got to maybe find someone else to explain it. Or you maybe need to go someplace and read on it. So sometimes I'll listen to audio and I'll listen to someone doing a report on something. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really fully grasping it. So I'll then go on the internet and I'll find an article centered around it. So now, I'm looking for another source to back what they're saying. So now I've gone to Google, whatever, and I found it on the internet where I can read up on it. And then when I'm reading, I'm like, okay, it's making sense. Because for some people, listening to someone say something maybe work for you. But then for others, you probably need to read it. You need to see it in words. So I do a kind of combination of the two. I'll read it and then I'm listening because it helps me to comprehend like what's going on. And sometimes I need to hear it from more than one person or get it from more than one outlet for me to have an understanding on what's going on, because I need to understand so I know how to talk to somebody else to help them to understand. You see how this works? So I do a lot of prep work and things like that before I come live. I go live with you all because it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information. It's information that I feel like you all could benefit from and you should know. And it's up to you with what you do with this information. If you share it, you keep it to yourself. It's up to you. But share it with your loved ones. Don't have your people out here in the dark. You let them know it's up to them if they don't want to do nothing with the information. But at least you can say, well, I shared it with you. I told you what's going on out here. It's up to you if you want to do something with it or not, because we can't make people listen. We can lead them to the water, but what? We can't make them drink. I'm no different. I'm no different. But that's on that, you all. It's a lot I know that we covered. If you came in late, definitely be a part of the replay gang. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm Chic Speaks, my channel. I just talk about just what's going on out here in these streets as it pertains to just the politics, the U.S. Just even I talk about what's going on just even with other countries, because what happens with us as Americans in the US, we because we're so huge and we're such a powerful country, the things that we do or don't do, it impacts other countries as well. These tariffs, like if Trump say, hey, I want to implement, like every people are impacted by the decisions that are being made here in the USA. It's just how it goes. Lorena says, way to go. Yes, people need to do their homework. Love it. Do your homework. That's why we're the honor students over here. We elevate. Are you an honor student? If you're not an honor student, subscribe to this channel, because once you subscribe to this channel, guess what? You are an honor student. Honor students, we elevate. We ask questions. We seek out answers. We don't just take what somebody tells us. We go out and look for ourselves to gain a better understanding. We share, we enlighten other people. We encourage for them to seek out the information for themselves as well. Each one teach one, right? Hashtag each one teach one. That's what it's about. What good is the information and the knowledge and if you're just keeping it to yourself? You need to share that. That's what I do. I come out here on this internet and I share my knowledge, the information that I have. I share it. And my hope is for you to take this information and what, share it as well. That's why it helps to like the video, because it helps with the algorithm. It circulates the message and it's reached to people all around the world. That's the beauty of the internet. That's why I choose to be on the internet and interact with you all, opposed to just being in the office building and just having someone pay me to just spill out their guts. Because you all, my background is clinical mental health counseling. I have a bachelor's degree in clinical mental health counseling. What that means is that I can activate my license and I can be a therapist out here and just charge you however much I want to charge you to come and see me, and allow you to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I choose to show up and help people in this way by being on the internet, because I feel like I can reach far more people this way versus people making an appointment to come see me in an office. That's no longer how I want to serve my people. I want to serve my people in the best way I can, that will allow for me to reach what's possible. And right now, this is how I identified how I can reach people around the world, by spreading the knowledge. This is how I choose to pay it forward. And all I ask for you to do is just like the video. Like, share, subscribe. If you want to do a super chat, you can do that. But how are you paying it forward? What are you doing? How are you helping the next person? I like to leave my videos by saying, go out into the world and show up in a way in which you want others to show up for you. Like attracts like. Give off good energy. Good energy, guess what? Attracts good energy. Take care of yourselves and one another. Heavy on to take care of yourselves. So many of us are out here taking care of everybody and neglecting ourselves. Ain't nobody got us. We just out here, we all out here on a wing and a prayer. Take care of yourself. If any of you are struggling with any form of mental health, I do have products on Amazon. You can find the links in the videos, my videos on my community page, as well as other videos that are posted on this channel, where there are links to my coloring books, adult coloring books, journals, notebooks, things for adults and children centered around mental health. My products range from $5.99 to $7.99. See, y'all, I tell y'all, it ain't that deep over here. It's not that deep. And our products are on Prime. Help another person. Because, listen, it's hard out. Pimping ain't easy. As somebody said in here, pimping ain't easy. Pimping ain't easy. But guess what? Together we can all get through this. Like, share, way out. You all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed Sunday. And I will see you all on my next broadcast. And thank you to all my awesome mods, Dr. J, Virtuous Woman, Just Say When. Listen, we're out here. We want you to talk your talk, say your piece, but do it respectfully. As long as you talk your talk and say your piece respectfully, then you can stick around. But if you start wanting to play crazy and do the absolute most, then like deuces, this ain't the place for you. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for you all tapping in. Road to 2,000 subscribers, God willing. We've hit that goal today, but stay tuned. I have a series called Car Chronicles, so you definitely want to make sure you're subscribed. So therefore, you won't miss that. I do that on during the weekdays, usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays. This week it'll probably be Wednesday. So Car Chronicles, stay tuned. Make sure you have the notification bell on so you know when I go live. Typically, that's going to be in the morning time. I'm on East Coast in Georgia, so that's going to be during the 7 o'clock hour, around 7:15ish, 7:15 a.m. I do Car Chronicles during the week, typically anywhere from Tuesdays to Thursdays. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, so on that, I will catch you all on the next broadcast. Peace.